It is Big E. He's here on Talk Wrestling, home of the Big E push. How are you, Big E?
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Alex. And thank you for being arguably the greatest voice in all of wrestling. I mean, I think you make very sound decisions, tweets. You know what I'm saying. It's all good. And I very much appreciate you and all that you do. So the pleasure, honestly, if we're being honest, really is mine.
You don't know what you've done.
I would pay. I would honestly pay to do this interview, but thankfully I don't have to. That's how gracious you are.
You don't know what you've done, Biggie. You've just given me a clip that I will use for eternity against anything. Somebody will badmouth me one day, and I'll go, "What about this though? What about this?
What about that though?"
Yeah, like Bivens and his archives of videos. That's going to be mine.
Smart.
But anyway, man, so great to have you here, and man, we're excited to talk Money in the Bank, amongst other things. Fans are going to be returning, and you are in four-way action, I believe, this Friday with the other Money in the Bank participants. Must be nice to not have Apollo in the match. I'm going to assume.
Yes, it's been a lot of me and Apollo, and it is nice to. As I will say, I think he's incredible in the ring, and I've been proud of, for the most part, I've been proud of what we've done, but. It's time to do something different, and this is cool for me because I've never been in a Money in the Bank ladder match, so it'll be my very first time.
I believe on the bump you were quoted as saying that you would chase Roman should you win the briefcase. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I think he's the man right now. I think at the top of our industry, and that's debatable for some, but for me, I think I don't think that's that wild of a thing to say right now, and that's not to disrespect Bobby or anyone else, but yeah, man, Roman's the easy choice. I think if you want to make a statement in this company in WWE, he's the one to go after. That's the one that all eyes are on. So yeah, that's an easy choice for me.
And of course, Kofi's handling business, hopefully, on the other side.
Yeah, how dope would it be to have Kofi walk out of on Sunday? Kofi is world champion. I'm holding the briefcase. Maybe I've cashed in as well. That would be incredible for us. So we'll see.
Man, we can all hope. We can all hope. But, it's funny because I know we were just saying about you've been working with Apollo a lot, and obviously love Apollo over here. But I remember Daniel Bryan was obviously a big proponent, saying before then that he wanted you to get the push and he wanted to work with you and stuff. Is there a part of you that feels like maybe you needed, and this is no disrespect to anyone else, but like that signature feud with somebody of that standing, perhaps, to take things to the next level, maybe?
Yes, yeah. No, I don't think that's off at all. And I think for me, my hope was to move on from Apollo as Intercontinental Champion and to kind of keep adding on to that resume. And things obviously didn't go that way. You could argue they kind of petered out. I kind of feel that way. I feel like I was building some nice momentum up until WrestleMania, and since then it's kind of been in this a holding pattern of sorts. But I think the cool thing with Money in the Bank, and I've said this in a few other interviews, is I feel like you can go from having no momentum, you can be almost dead in the water, you're in that match, you win that briefcase, and it's on just like that. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity to kind of reset things. I think it's a great way for me to reset and to get hot again, and hopefully that's what happens.
And I remember when we was in this like group chat thing that we did last year with the media, and you said that there was like, for the solo run, there was a plan. WWE had a plan. How far have we strayed, or have we not, from said plan? Because WWE is like the land of adjustments.
That's a great way to put it. It's chaotic here. It's constant chaos, and the plan is always in flux. Even when there is a plan, man, the thing can unfold at any time. And I felt, it for me being inside of it, it felt like there's a plan and there's a path here. But then WrestleMania happens, and now it feels like that plan is off track. So for me, my hope is to get it back on track, because I think right now, I think what I've done the last couple months has been really nothing to write home about. And I think I was pretty proud of the stuff that I've been doing earlier this year up until WrestleMania, and being able to demonstrate different sides, being able to show an intensity and a fire that I hadn't really been able to show in a very long time, if ever. So I was proud of a lot of that, and then things have kind of stalled for me. But I also, I'm not the type to complain and moan and to cry about the lack of opportunities. I definitely want more for myself, but in the same vein, I also feel like, all right, this is the lot I'm given. This is the time I'm given. This is the segment I'm given. Whatever it is I'm given is to make the very best of it, and I can sleep soundly at night knowing that I gave it my all. So I don't toss and turn and worry about the things that I can't control.
Yeah. I mean, and on that note, congratulations are in order because the New Day were in WWE's list voted the greatest tag team of all time. We don't need us to sit here and talk about the illustrious names that come up against that. It's a big honor. I see the Young Bucks had a say about your tweet on that.
Yes.
But I thought your tweet actually very eloquently put it that way because a lot of people will say New Day is perhaps the greatest faction. And then there's tag team, and I guess they're all different things. But how proud are you to be at the top of that list, man?
It's really cool. And if it's up to me, I wouldn't put us at number one. But obviously, it's different for me being in it. But I will say, I always harken back to our beginnings. And in 2014, when we first started, man, we were just trying to get on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not that we had any parameters set on it, but in my mind, it's hey, we hopefully can get 6 months out of this, and then when we split, we're all better off, and that's the goal. And the fact that we got to do so much more than that. We got to do so many things inside and outside of the ring, and I'm really proud of the fact that we were able to do all these really unconventional things, like the Bootios cereal. It's absurd, but like we legit have a cereal. That's ridiculous. We came out of a giant box of cereal at WrestleMania. We were number one in merch. We had like a long promo seg back and forth with The Rock. We broke a record that stood for over 20 years. We've been able to do all of these incredible things. Kofi Mania, man, I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I would say with where my career was headed before the New Day, if if they had kind of gone, I'm just kind of imagining what things would have looked like.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if regrets is the right word, but I don't know if I would have looked back and said, man, I'm really proud of what I did when it was all said and done. But now, if things were to end today, and hopefully I have many more years in me, but if things were to end today, man, I can look back at we had so much fun. And I got to work with two dudes who are just incredible human beings. We laughed every single day. I had the time of my life during that run, and it's not over. We still have some more time, hopefully. So it was just me. For me, it wasn't really about debating who was truly number one or who deserved it or for a faction or a tag team. It was just about taking some time to be grateful. And that's been a big thing for me as I've tried to work on growing as a human being the last year and a half or so is I really find and I'll talk anyone's ear off about meditation because it's been incredible for me. But meditation has really taught me to be grateful, to be present. And I think being grateful has allowed me to enjoy my life more because I can really look around and take stock and think, man, the last 7 years has been a dream. And so the tweet for me, it was just really about being grateful for Kofi and Woods and for all those opportunities. And, you know, I always believed that the three of us had a lot of chemistry and we are really talented and we had a lot to offer the industry. I never would have imagined we were able to do all the things that we have done. But yeah, it was just a moment to say, man, I'm grateful. It's been a heck of a ride. I'll look back in 10, 20, 30 years and I'll say, man, we had the time of our lives. We made the best of it. We enjoyed it. We appreciated each other. We looked out for each other. So yeah, there isn't really anything I would change about that 7 year run so far.
I mean, I do think by any kind of stretch of the criteria, like New Day has merits in every conversation. So it's not like it's not an absurd thing, right? That you're up there. So I don't think anyone would kind of approach from that respect. For me, my favorite match, I think, of New Day is probably the Hell in a Cell with the Usos. I just think that was just magic, right? That's probably the only word you can really put it. Is that the one for you? Is that the one in the New Day run?
Yeah, that's the one, and that's the obvious one. I feel I keep trying to like pick another one that I've forgotten about during the run too. And we've had the opportunity to work with some great tag teams, but
Mm.
that whole feud, man, I remember there are times because we'd always rotate. There were times where I would be on the floor and they'd be having a match, and I'd be split because a part of me is just proud that man, they're out there killing it. This is incredible. But on the other half, I'm like, how the hell am I going to follow this? Because I knew we were going to continue for a little bit, and I'm thinking, this is too good. This sucks. Like, I'm not that good. I can't do this. But that was the beautiful thing, is we were always able to find ways. In my opinion, I feel like the matches just got better and better. That SummerSlam pre-show, we were all fired up because we had been cooking, in this program with the Usos, and all 5 of us felt like, man, at SummerSlam, we deserve to get good placement on this show. I'm not necessarily saying the main event, but like, we were all kind of floored that we were on the pre-show, and we worked with a real chip on our shoulders. And we just had that feeling like, if you're not going to respect us, if you're not going to highlight us, we're going to show you. And I love that all 5 of us had that mentality of like, every single time we go out there, we're going to show you why we think tag team wrestling is the best, why this feud is the best thing on the card. And I respect the Usos so much because we always saw the business, we saw the craft in the same way. And it was never about us like, hey, tonight we need to make sure we look better than the Usos. Tonight we need to make sure their stuff doesn't look good and ours does. No, it was about going out there and like, bro, let's all 5 of us tear this place down. All 5 of us do something memorable. And I'm really appreciative that, several years later, there've been some incredible Hell in a Cells too, even since then. But I'm glad that people still appreciate that match. I'm really proud of what we were able to do there. And I love, man, that match looks different if it wasn't for Kofi being so selfless, because in our rotation, it was Kofi's turn it was supposed to be me and Kof, but Kof said, man, Woods, I know that you've known the Usos for all these years. You came up together with them, FCW, all that. And he was like, you know what? This means a lot to you. I'm going to step aside, and it's going to be you and E. So there's so much about that match that I look back at fondly. And it's the one where anytime I see like a clip on Instagram, I'll stop and I'll take a look. And I'm just really appreciative because I think we did some really cool, inventive stuff. Some stuff I had never really seen. Like Woods had that idea to take the kendo sticks and make the little jail in the corner. Some really inventive stuff there. And I love that it was for me. What I loved was just that mix of lightheartedness, that humor, and the intensity as well is always what we try to balance as New Day. Because you have that moment where earlier in the match is I go out to the apron and I'm pulling out different colored trombones and cowbells and a gong, and it's ridiculous. But we also have the moment where Woods is handcuffed around the post, and the Usos are hitting him. They're swinging for the fences with those kendo sticks. He must have got hit easily 20 times with the kendo stick in that one moment. So to me, I just love the story we were able to tell in that match. It felt like the great culmination of a feud, because I think if I'm a fan, I think oftentimes you see Hell in a Cell matches, and if you watched 20 years ago, it felt like the Hell in a Cells were 4 feuds that were red hot, and like, this is the best way to settle it inside of a cage. And just with the way things are structured now, it's not always that way. You'll have Hell in a Cell matches where you kind of scratch your head and it's like, I don't know if they've escalated to the point where they should be in a cell. But I just love the fact that, to me, everything felt right about it, the timing of it. So I can go on and on clearly about the Hell in a Cell match, but yeah, that's something I'm really proud of.
I still think that I think it's 2016 Uso turn, and obviously just New Day at their peak as well. It is one of the most iconic tag team rivalries in recent memory. We all know about the TLC and all that stuff, but in the modern era, quote unquote, I still think that's one of the most magical pairings we've had. Now, we don't like proverbial wedge drivers, Big E. We don't like this talk. And it always gets shot down, and rightly so. And I think that's part of the charm of New Day, right? Has there ever been a time during this 7 years where even someone in WWE has even had the moxie to say, what about, maybe we should do this? Because I know you guys are very firm, but has anyone actually even had the balls to come to New Day and say, maybe we should?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. And I know there are rumors for a while that certain things were pitched, but I think because we had been so adamant about not wanting to be broken up, I think that's kind of where other people were like, I don't know if we should, because, they really don't want it. But, I can't really divulge the conversation,
Sure.
but even from the top of the business, from the very head of what we do. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Directly told us like, hey, this is the idea, and we said we're not feeling it.
Can I just
Because
ask if it's pre or post Kofi Mania, by the way?
this was post.
I think so. I hated the idea that he would have said it pre and we wouldn't have got Kofi Mania, but cool. Yeah.
Yes, but no, I think there are people who wanted it earlier as well. To me, like, you're right, man. That's the thing, is if we do it, we would have missed out on so many great
Exactly.
moments. And I still think that doing it now or doing it soon, I think there are great moments to come. I still really feel like we have a lot more to offer. I think you've seen happy, clappy, babyface New Day for a very long time. I still think there are a lot of things. Man, I still even want to play around with the idea that we originally had. When you see Woods come out in that white and red suit in 2014, and like that was the original intent. That was our plan, is to be this almost, this hard-nosed, not shaking hands, not singing, not shucking and jiving anymore. Like, we're not taking it anymore. We're not going to sit back and wait for opportunities anymore. We're going to take it. And obviously the group ended up being the exact opposite of that. Instead of like, no more, shaking hands and kissing babies, is like, no, we specialize now in shaking hands, kissing babies, and dancing. So, things, we had to pivot a bit, and it all worked out for us, obviously. But yeah, man, I still think we have so much to offer as a group. And I just like telling stories in a different way. Everything that we've done, and I get our business is a business of conflict, but I think the story of brotherhood and of three guys who genuinely want the best for each other, I think it's different. I think it's unique. I think there's a lot of things that we could do, as far as maybe we haven't even really teased any tension. We haven't done any kind of like friendly. There are other things I think we can do to maybe toe that line, but there's also so many things that we want to do, so many things that we do outside of in-ring as well that wouldn't work, like the podcast. That means that's over. A lot of the gaming stuff that we were able to do, I still don't know how we got a thumbs up on this, but the fact that we got to play video games in front of a bunch of people with Kenny and the Bucks, and like everyone, like, we didn't do that behind people's backs. Like, everyone approved it. Like, that happened. That was a thing. And for a lot of people, it's just video games. But to me, like, that was a moment. That was an official thing.
Definitely
that
was.
threw on a large scale. People were really behind it. So I thought that was really cool. And I know there are a lot of things in the way. I'd love to do more of that. I think anytime you see that forbidden door be open and you see people, cross promotions, it's just cool, man. You just there's so many matchups that you'll never see, that people would love to see. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that we can't do if you break up the New Day. And also, it's like, who are you gonna cheer for? It's weird. I don't know. I feel like we're so attached at the hip in many ways that it'd be hard to really it's real muddled. And then there's three of us too. And I know the Shield did it. To me, there's a lot about it that doesn't make sense. And I often think there rarely is a real plan for groups that break up.
Yeah,
Like,
there's normally a plan for someone, but not the whole collective, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I think besides the Shield, I can't think of a faction that broke up and everyone was better off for it in recent memory, at least. Not since I've been on the main roster. But and the Shield's different too, because I was envisioning them as a super group. Like, they were always destined to be more than just a faction. So yeah, I have a lot of reasons why I don't like the breakup.
And I agree with them all. I think that's part of the legacy and anything for New Day, like the strength of it, because it diverts away from wrestling tropes and traditions where you have to turn on each other and stuff. I don't think that's something that needs to withstand. But I have a few more that I want to ask here. And I feel like these are more closer to Big E's heart. I know you're a UFC guy like I am, right? You're
Yes.
into that. I've always wondered with you, because I love your in-ring style and the powerhouse with the athleticism, but like, you watch the mats and all that stuff like I do in UFC. Have you ever thought about, training a particular way or incorporating, like Undertaker had a late career renaissance with that sort of stuff, didn't he? Is that in your kind of mind, maybe?
Not really, man. I just think there's so many other people who would do a better job with it anyways, because I've never like trained striking. I was a state champion wrestler in high school, but that was 18 years ago. legit. That's the last time I did any organized wrestling. So I don't really have the same base. But we have got, you know what I mean? Like when Samoa Joe was on the main roster, like he did you know, he trained in MMA and he would use a bit of that. When you had like Shayna and you have Sonya who was doing elements of that. There's so many other people who added elements of that. And then you also have Brock, who is actually a UFC champion. So there are just so many people who are better suited at it than me that to me, it just would ring hollow. It just wouldn't feel authentic. It just wouldn't be a good fit for me. I love being a fan. I sit and watch, but there's really no parts of me that is really, really interested in training or in adopting elements of that. If anything, I might lean a little bit more on, just because it's a little bit more natural, on using some elements of my amateur wrestling. But I looked around and we had Dolph, we had Gable. We have so many people who actually wrestled at a much higher level than I did, or who have trained striking. Even Baron Corbin, won Golden Gloves apparently years ago. So there are other people who have just worked in elements of mixed martial arts that just made more sense. So it's like, let me leave that alone.
What did you think of McGregor?
So, man, that's a weighty question.
Loaded.
It is, because it's a long conversation. I get selling a fight, and I'm all for selling a fight, and he's the biggest draw in the sport, and it's not even close. And I think this version is much more marketable than Nice Guy McGregor, who is offering $500,000 to Dustin's charity, even though apparently that never went through. But to me, there should be a line of decorum. You can't threaten a man's life, especially after the saddest thing was seeing him with his leg broken. And just, it reminded me a bit of when Vince tore his quads. And he can't stand up, but he's still just yelling at people. Like, that's what I thought of. Like, this is kind of sad right now. This man cannot stand up right now because his leg is snapped, but he's still this ball of vitriol and anger. And I don't know, man, because I think on one hand, I think it all plays well for a fourth fight, which I assumed it was going to be over. Dustin gets a shot. We all move on. Let Conor heal up, and then we'll figure it out. But everyone seems to be on board for a fourth, and I get it. It's big commerce. It'll do well. Everyone will make a lot of money. That's great, I suppose. But the entertainment side, I get, but I also feel like there's a line that was crossed that shouldn't be crossed, and he's crossed a lot of it. So this last run of Conor has just left me with a bitter taste in my mouth. And Dustin's so likable, man. Everything he does with his charitable organizations, he feels like, in my opinion, from what I've seen, I obviously don't know his day-to-day life, but he looks like to be a great family man. Always talking about his girls, his wife, and his daughter. He's so easy to root for, and has just really, just as, man, and he's always been very good, I think. But the run he's been on the last several years, minus the Khabib fight, because Khabib is Khabib.
Khabib is Khabib.
Yeah. He's really looked exceptional. So, yeah, I could talk about the Conor thing all day. I don't think he's an elite fighter anymore. I think the run he had, 4 or 5 years ago, was just untouchable. And I don't think we'll ever see that. At least we won't see that from him again. I'm not sure we'll see it in our lifetimes. But there's still some really fun fights to make. There's still the trilogy with Nate. It's still out there. Man, I'd love to see him fight a bunch of guys at 55, maybe even some fun fights at 70. I don't think he's a title challenger anymore. I could be wrong, but we'll see.
It's the thing. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, man, what if you put him in there like Gaethje? And I'll be like, I think Gaethje would hurt him. So it's like,
man, I don't like the Gaethje matchup at all for him. I think Gaethje puts it on him.
Exactly. And the list is getting shorter for like, that would be good for Conor. You know what I mean? It's just like, but at the same time, it's, you like I said, sad, because I mean, he did such a 180 from Fight Island, where he's all Mr. Respectful Conor. That just makes it even less kind of entertaining to me. It's like, wow, who really are you? But never mind. I want to finish here. I've got 2 quick ones for you. The final one, in terms of close to Big E, I know Wale obviously did your theme. I'm a big Wale guy. What do you think about what Hit Row are doing, man? I think that's refreshing in NXT right now.
They're killing it, man. They're really killing it. I'm just a fan of what Swerve has done. He's a guy who's like, oh man, he's really, really good, but he should probably be doing more. Like, I'd like to see him do more. And now he's doing more. And he's really like, this is the character. This is what he should be doing. Yes. I feel like it's really true to him. Like, he's made music for I don't know how long. This is what he does. And it feels feels very authentic. It's everything they're doing right now is I feel like they're snapping. I'm a big fan of the stuff they're doing. Just doing like the cipher, like you said, man. There's so much unique territory for them. Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of what they're doing, and I'm excited to see more of Hit Row. But Swerve has been killing it for a while, and it really feels like he's hitting his stride right now. So I'm just happy for him. Just as a fan, it's cool to sit back and watch just all the cool things he's doing, and I hope they continue to make them different and unique, and to do things like that cipher. And again, it might not be for everyone. You know, there are people who like don't really get it or don't understand it, but it's unique. I think it's working. I think they're snapping, honestly.
Final one, man. Now, you may or may not have seen the other week, but your video of Goldberg on the New Day pod went viral once again of big, meaty men slapping meat. That's that's what people want to see. You know, you're quite friendly with the guy now. No, I think we've seen these videos. He likes you, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, we're cool. We had.
Did you make it happen, Big E?
I don't know. He's in his. You know, it's different too, because my position in the company is kind of weird. In many ways, I tell like my friends, like, oh, I'm a mid carder, and then there are people try to tell me, no, you're not a mid carder. New Day so established. So it's always weird to think like, where am I positioned? Am I a guy who's positioned to have a Goldberg singles? Because I've never really had a big singles showcase. You could argue WrestleMania or whatnot. So I'm not going to hold my breath, because I'm going to assume that if Goldberg comes back, he's going to get a Roman or a Bobby or someone with, you know, someone who's positioned differently. So I'm not going to hold my breath. It would be fun though, because I meant it. You know, he was my favorite wrestler as a kid. It's just oddly and weirdly full circle. So I'm not beating down any doors for the match. I'm not going to hold my breath for it, but I would love to have it. It would be really cool. It would be full circle for me. I'm glad people enjoy that nonsense. For me, it's one of those things, like sometimes I say things that are really funny to me in the moment, but I assume no one else will enjoy them, or they'll think it's stupid and obnoxious. This stupid rant about my dream match, the Goldberg thing, people really seem to like that nonsense. And I feel like in many ways, I'm like, is this my greatest contribution to the business? This stupid rant? Because people don't talk about no one talks about my matches or anything I've done as much as they seem to talk about this meaty men nonsense. But I also like, I'm oddly proud of it, because, you know, there'll be sometimes not even in WWE, just random promotions. There'll be just two big dudes in a match, and I'll have people tweet me about this meat slapper that's coming up. As stupid as it is, if it makes people laugh and it makes people smile and something they remember fondly, that puts a smile on my face. So it's cool to see the reception for that. And if it leads to a match with Goldberg, then all the better.
It's just nice that if he likes you, maybe he'll want it. You know, maybe he'll think it's something that he likes. But I still crack up every time I think about work rate and bump that.
well, for me, so it's just different because Kofi and Woods, I have so much respect for them in the ring, and I think they're very good. And you think, so Too Cold Scorpio is Woods' favorite wrestler. Yeah. And Too Cold, I was gonna say Too Cold in his prime, but Too Cold's still wrestling now. Too Cold and Woods right now, if they had a match, would be a banger, and it would be a classic. And same with Kofi and his favorite wrestler, Shawn Michaels. He and Shawn Michaels in their primes would have a classic. I have no doubts about that. But like for me, and maybe this is me being too self-deprecating, but for me, I feel like I'm good at what I do, but I don't think, like, I don't envision myself being in a 30-minute mat classic, especially with Goldberg. So for me, it's like, all right, you two want to have your great matches with your great workers and do high-flying stuff with all your reversals and whatnot. Not me. No. That's not where I'm coming from. I just want to see two men who are way too large, who have way too many muscles. And what I was thinking of as meaty men stopping meat is so when we go to Japan, we have shows in Japan. I remember when Rowan was here, and I love Rowan. Shout out to my man Rowan. I remember I think we worked the Wyatts either once or twice in Japan. But I remember one time before I went over there, Brody, may he rest in peace, my incredible friend who was missed dearly. Brody told me the first time I went over there that, man, like, you don't have to lock up and do drop down leapfrogs with Rowan. Just run into each other a bunch of times, and they love it. And he's right. the Japanese crowd, we always got great reactions. Anytime we would just have that tackle spot where two guys just take off, two big guys, and just that's what I thought of when I think of slapping meat. It's just two big men, like I said, with big chests and big muscles. I just envisioned just give me 10 minutes of just taking off, hitting the ropes, and slapping chests with a standoff. That's what I want. That's what I want from me and Goldberg. Is just the first 10 minutes of that match is just facing off, hitting the ropes, and slapping chests, and sweat flying everywhere. That's a spectacle. That's what I want to see.